It's been a minute since I've made a video, but we are back with some college football 26 information. So we should be getting one more big update for college football 25, but we have started to get a tiny bit of information for college football 26. The game has been in development for several months now, and I think once we get into next year, we're definitely going to start getting a lot more information. So the information in this video for CFB 26 is coming from none other than Matt Brown of the Extra Points newsletter. Most of y'all are probably familiar with Matt Brown. He's been on the channel a couple times in 2 different interviews. He was a go-to source for information about CFB 25, and now here he is coming out with some information for CFB 26. Now, this is not going to be like groundbreaking information if you're expecting to hear that high school is coming back for Road to Glory or something big like that in this video. You're not going to hear it, but I actually did make a video a couple months ago about a survey that EA sent out to some of their play testers about potential ideas for CFB 26, and it actually did have some pretty crazy stuff like that, like high school for Road to Glory and different things like that. I will put that down in the description below. Definitely go watch that if you missed it. The information in this video is going to be more about presentation and assets for CFB 26, and nothing really about gameplay or game modes. So this is coming from Matt Brown's most recent Extra Points newsletter. Most of the information is behind a paywall for premium subscribers, so I'm not going to share any screenshots or anything like that, but I'll tell you what's in there. Definitely go subscribe to Extra Points. I've said it a million times on this channel, but it's definitely worth it. So EA sent a 10-page Google form to these schools to collect information about their stadiums and fields, their jerseys, their mascots, and so on. I think the biggest bit of information here from this newsletter is the information about the mascots. So EA asked the schools, are there any recent changes to your team's mascot or inaccuracies with the CFB 25 version? Please choose one of the following options. And then the options are no, but there were some inaccuracies with how the mascot was portrayed in CFB 25. No, our mascot did not make it into CFB 25 and we like it in CFB 26. And then yes. So obviously that third option is the one that stands out. No, our mascot did not make it in CFB 25 and we'd like it in CFB 26. And earlier in the paragraph on this newsletter, Matt Brown had said that sources have told him that developers want to add more mascots to CFB 26, which might be kind of obvious, but in CFB 25, there's only 50 mascots, which is pretty lame. Honestly, I was disappointed by that. I think that was due to time restraints and not being able to get them all in time. So hopefully in CFB 26 we can get more mascots. I would love to get every single one for every school. I don't know if that's possible or not, but at the very least hopefully we'll have more to choose from. And maybe eventually we'll get mascot mashup mode back where you can play a game with mascots and do different flips and stuff if you used to play that back in, NCAA 12, 13, and 14. That was super fun. I would love for them to bring it back. I think they'll need to get more mascots, though, to do that. You should also expect some stadium changes to these teams in the game for CFB 26. They asked a few different questions about stadiums and fields. First question, it says, are there any changes to your stadium, including video boards, edge walls, name, sponsorship, etc. for the upcoming season? So obviously, those are things that happen all the time. Vanderbilt's obviously changing their stadium. Kansas got their new stadium in the game just recently, a few months ago. It asks them to include like references or pictures or to include details about these stadium changes coming in 2026 and beyond. And there were definitely issues with stadiums in CFB 25 where some things are a little inaccurate, little details that most fans wouldn't notice, but the fans of this specific team will notice just because they know what their stadium looks like. So a lot of these little things that are currently inaccurate in CFB 25 will hopefully get fixed in CFB 26. Matt Brown mentioned in the newsletter that it was made legal that schools can now have advertisements on the actual playing field. You may have noticed that during this season that some schools actually have sponsorships on the playing field, but that was not put in CFB 25, so that may be included in CFB 26. EA also asked for more reference videos for chants in the stadium, like what people say after first downs or across the stadium where they do like OHIO, post-touchdown chants, different things like that. A lot of those are already in the game, but they're working to make them more accurate or add more to different schools. That way it feels more realistic in CFB 26. Now this one's interesting. They are asking for more images of the teams in the tunnel and running out of the tunnel. That way they can recreate that in the video game for CFB 26. But it says the lighting team is specifically requesting, if possible, that these videos or images are from a night game. So it sounds like they are going to at least focus on the lighting for the night games to make them look better when the teams are running out of the tunnel. I've heard a lot of people complain about the night games in CFP 25. They don't look very good. And I know this is specifically just talking about the teams in the tunnel and running out of the tunnel, but hopefully this points to a bigger thing where they're just going to focus in general on the night games because they need to definitely be improved. And I would love to see a sun actually set during the game. Like if the sun's out when the game starts, but by the time the game ends, the sun has set, I would love to see that in the game. Unfortunately, they do not have that. I've also seen people complaining about that. Obviously, that's something small, not a huge deal, but would love to see it if possible. There are several questions about bands that they sent to these schools, which is really interesting to me. They are thinking about adding team-specific band uniforms, so you'll know in real life, like each team's band, each school's band has like actual uniforms, but in the game, they are just generic uniforms with the team's colors. But they are thinking about actually getting like the real band uniforms and put those in CFP 26. They also asked for band locations like in the stadium, which they did their best to do that in CFP 25, like put the bands in the actual spot they would be in real life in the stadium. But they asked if they got it accurate or inaccurate, that way they can adjust it, or are they simply going to change it for 2026, so that way they need to adjust it for CFB 26. EA also asked the schools for updates to their logos, if they're changing their logos at all, or if their logos they are no longer using. They asked for schools' preferred primary and secondary athletics hashtag, which I thought was cool. So like hashtag Go Pokes, hashtag Bronco Nation. And that makes me wonder if it points to them having like a message board or some sort of social media in CFB 26. They had talked about that for putting that in CFB 25. I talked to Matt Brown about that in one of our interviews, how they were looking at potentially having like a message board. However, they ended up scrapping it, but I wonder if that's potentially coming back for CFB 26. That would be super cool. Or maybe these hashtags are just going to be like on different signage or jerseys or whatnot. And then lastly, EA asked for former players and legends from the schools that they would like to see included. Now, obviously, that's probably just because of Ultimate Team, but maybe, just maybe, we'll see these legends outside of Ultimate Team. I've said it before, but I would love to see them in Dynasty mode. Like imagine you're recruiting and you can like turn on a setting that includes legends as recruits, and you're just recruiting and boom, you find Barry Sanders. Like that would be super cool. I would also love to see like historic or legendary teams like 2019 LSU, 2001 Miami, different teams like that. Like that would also be super cool. Those two things though are probably long shots. Like I said, the legends are probably just for Ultimate Team. So that was basically it in this newsletter from Matt Brown. He does have a final paragraph that basically says that for all the people that are going to make YouTube summaries of this newsletter, which is me, he said that just because EA is asking for something from a school does not mean it's guaranteed to be in the game. A lot of people were disappointed about CFB 25 because certain things weren't put in the game, such as a mascot. He's saying just because they are asking for certain assets doesn't mean they are going to get put into CFB 26. So keep that in mind. Like none of this is confirmed. None of it is guaranteed. This is just stuff that EA is asking schools for to potentially put into CFB 26. So that's going to do it for this one. Like I said earlier in the video, if you missed the video I made about what EA is considering putting into CFB 26, I'm going to link it down in the description below. It definitely has way more information in terms of game modes and bigger ideas than just like assets and presentation. So definitely check that out. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Instagram at BringNCAA back and subscribe here if you're enjoying the content.